welcome back to Margaritas in Paradise. Hey, I want to go over a topic that I've been thinking about for a while, and it's the reasons why you may not want to live in Pattaya, Thailand. Things to consider before you come here, and what a lot of expats find out, or retirees find out once they move here. So I have 7 items to go over with you. Now the thing is I love Pattaya, Thailand. I do. And this is my home. I enjoy everything about it, and I can tell you all the reasons why to come here, and that's for sure. So check that out in tomorrow's video, why you should come to Pattaya, Thailand. Why do I live here, or why do other expats live here? All right, so check that out tomorrow. But here are the 7 reasons maybe to reconsider coming here to live. The number one thing that I could think about was the social issues, maybe the stigmatism that Pattaya has on somebody in general. Now I'll tell you what, when I first started coming here to Pattaya, that is I didn't tell my family and friends where I was actually going. I always told them I was going to Banglamang, Thailand, or Banglamang, Chonburi, Thailand. Okay, and I purposely omitted saying the word Pattaya. I didn't know if people knew about Pattaya back then. I didn't want them to get the wrong idea about the city that I like, and maybe about me. So, well, everybody knows about me now. So that's a fair assessment. The thing to remember is that Pattaya, when people think about Pattaya in general, if you search it on Google, what's it going to come up with? It's going to talk about the famous nightlife, okay, and maybe the adult side of that nightlife as well, and you know, everything you can, all the negatives that you can imagine. It's also going to be, they're going to talk about the beach life, and they're going to talk about attractions and the Thai culture and things like that. But the social impact that the city of Pattaya has can be a negative. When you come here and you walk around, you know, probably, I would say that it's probably 70% single men that are walking around, and are groups of men walking around. You go down to Walking Street's a perfect example. There's probably, I would say that 80% of the customer tourism that's down there is groups of men walking around. And I can understand why female travelers may feel somewhat intimidated coming here, especially by themselves or just in groups of 1, 2, 3, 4 females together, where they have a choice of going to, let's say, Pattaya or Chiang Mai, or even Phuket, which it's Pattaya at a lower level. I can understand that. I mean, how is a single woman looked at here? And when guys approach those single women, do they treat them any differently than the way that they would treat them, let's say, in Paris or in New York City or anywhere else in the world in general? You know, are they you know, approached in a different way or not? And I think here, women in general are probably unfairly looked at in a certain way here, and it's unfortunate, but it does happen. So the social stigmatism of what Pattaya is about is probably one of my number one feelings that people really have to look at before they decide to come and live here in Pattaya, Thailand. All right, number 2, weather. Thailand is hot, and it's hot and humid at that. Yeah. Now, it's something that I definitely have become climatized to. But I have so many friends that have lived here for years, and they never go out during the day. Okay, for them to go out and sit on their balcony like I am now in the sun, and feel the heat, they're not comfortable with that. So they tend to sleep all day long or stay inside their condos or their houses or wherever they're living all day long, and then only go out at night. And so that's common. There's no doubt about it, even for the people that have lived here a long time. Even though it is hot here, we're talking about an average temperature. I looked it up on Google. The average temperature is about 87 degrees. A lot of people would consider it hot, but the thing is, we have a lot of humidity here, so there's times of the year that you walk outside and you immediately you're sweating. Within 5 minutes, you're completely soaked in sweat because of the high humidity here, and you get uncomfortable with that alone. If you're going to be involved in a sporting activity, of course you're going to sweat, but you're going to sweat a lot more here in Thailand. This last year, our hot season, we have 3 seasons, okay, and during those seasons, you have the hot season, you have the cool season, and you have the wet season. And during the hot season this last year, we broke all kinds of records. And I think all over the world they were breaking records, or still breaking records. Extremely hot days. I mean, over 100 degrees. I'm talking Fahrenheit now. It was exhausting being outside. But the normal average temperature during the day, I would say, according to Google, is like 87 degrees on average during the day. So if you can handle 87 degrees, this is the perfect place. But if you can't handle the heat, then that may be a problem, okay, and something that you may need to consider whether you want to live here or come here. All right. Now, I want to mention, if you have any personal reasons why you would never live in Pattaya, Thailand, please put it in the comment section below. Number 3, it's the language barrier. Now, fortunately, living in Pattaya, the English language is spoken widely here, but there is a lot of Thais that don't speak any other language but Thai. Now, you do have the option of using like Google Translate and things like that, Google Lens for looking at signs and anything wrote in Thai. You can point your Google Translate camera lens at it and translate it that way, and it'll tell you what's wrote on those signs, or maybe on a page or something like that. But the language barrier is a tough one to overcome many times. And if you go outside the Pattaya area, beyond the local community, the chances of anybody speaking English or any other language other than Thai is really limited. Always best, I've talked about this in other videos, for you to learn a little bit of Thai, the basics, that type of stuff. But if you're not capable of doing that, that's another reason why you may consider not coming here. Now, if you haven't done so already, make sure that you're giving me a big thumbs up, that you're hitting that subscribe button, hit that bell right next to it for future notifications, new videos coming out all the time. All right, let's move on. Number 4 is the traffic. Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what, we were talking in the interview with Brian. His number one thing was the traffic. He's been here for 44 years, and he said the traffic has been bad for a long time. That's his number one thing he would change here if he could change anything. And just knowing that if you're going to get out on the road during rush hours or any type of festival or any event that's happening in Pattaya, or even during all of high season, you have to know that it's going to take you a tremendous amount of time to get anywhere. And the traffic situation is just horrible here. So if you're going to be frustrated with things like that, you need to probably stay or live in the area that you're going to play, okay? But with that being said, you don't want to be right, it's like living in living above a bar, okay, and then complaining about that the music's too loud at night. So don't do that. But if traffic or things like that are going to bother you, maybe that's another reason that you should reconsider this area. Hey, I want to put a shout out to Terry. He bought me 2 beers, and retired Army E6 bought me a coffee. Now, if you haven't figured it out, there is a link below in the description. If you feel like buying me a coffee or a beer, you can follow that link. And I thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Your generosity humbles me. And yeah, thanks for your support. Thank you very much. All right. Number 5, limited job opportunities. Are you coming here to work or to retire? So we've already talked about this, don't come here broke. The easiest way to become a millionaire here in Pattaya, Thailand is to come here with $2 million. So anyway, if you come here with the idea that maybe you'll just go out and get a job or something to make some extra money while you're here, you have to remember that a Thai can do the job, they're going to hire the Thai to do it. Okay, so the exceptions to something like that, maybe if you were certified as a specialist in some type of field or another. If, let's say, you're a teacher, for instance, and you're qualified to teach English. Now, they need lots of English teachers here, but there's criteria you have to meet. And there's things like, let's say, scuba diving. If you were an instructor for scuba diving, or maybe a golf instructor, maybe you're a professional golfer or a semi-pro or something like that could possibly work at a golf course or a driving range. Any type of manager. If you're specialized in restaurant or maybe bar, nightclub management, there's a possibility of you being hired for something like that. But the things to remember about working here in Thailand, if you're a non-Thai speaker, for instance, that's going to limit what you're going to be able to do as far as jobs here in Thailand. And the big one is that in Thailand, the normal pay salary is quite a bit less than Western standards. A lot of time you're offered accommodations and things like that. And, if that's of interest to you, definitely pursue it. But come here knowing that most people that are looking for a job never attain the job they're looking for. It's very hard to come up with jobs. You definitely need to know somebody. Networking. Okay, location. But know that in advance, and make sure, if that's important to you, that may be a reason why you may consider going someplace else. Number 6. I'll tell you, this is a big one for me. Sometimes I just get overwhelmed with too many people. Okay, it's overcrowding and too much noise going on, even where I live. When the buses start rolling to these small resorts around here, and when I go to the small markets and there's just too many people, or you go to a restaurant, your favorite restaurant, and you can't get a table, and they tell you that you should have called in last week for a reservation. It drives me crazy sometimes. And once that starts happening, it starts rolling like that, I know it's time for me to leave Pattaya. I load my motorbike up in my pickup truck and I escape. So, and if things like that are going to bother you, maybe it's not a good reason enough to come to Pattaya, Thailand. Like I said before, if living above a bar is your cup of tea, then do it. But understand, the bars probably don't close until 4 a.m. in the morning. And if you're planning on going to bed every night at 1 a.m. and you can't get any sleep, it's not the bar's fault. Okay, it's your fault for living above a bar. Okay, so I've always said, don't live where you play. But sometimes, given the circumstances, and we were just talking about this with traffic and things like that, maybe you're going to have to live closer to the areas that you play than you normally would. All right, so those are things to think about when you're deciding whether Pattaya is the right place for you. Number 7, Thailand isn't your country. I've heard so many times over and over again that I have my rights. Okay? No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have any rights here. Well, they can't do that. I can say anything I want. No, you can't. You can say anything you want, but you may go to jail for saying anything you want. You just have to remember where you're at. You have to remember that you're in a Buddhist country, for instance, and Buddhism is taken very seriously here. You're in a country that has a king, and the king is almost praised here. He is the head of state as far as concerned, and if you say anything negative about the king and somebody doesn't like it, you're going to have a problem. So Thailand exists without you, all right? But Thailand is better with you in it. Pattaya's lifestyle here is challenging. There are stigmatisms that are around that you just have to deal with. And the idea of, let's say, a 80-year-old man walking down the street hand in hand with a 20-year-old girl, if that bothers you, maybe Pattaya is not for you. Thailand is a developing country, and sometimes, especially in Pattaya, goes directly against, let's say, social standards or expectations, or even a moral standard that maybe you have. So, is the world's norm the same as it is here in Thailand? It may not be. All right, so you have to look into this and figure out if the norm that exists in Pattaya is right for you. Still, I hope that you can look past all these negatives and stigmatisms that I went over. This area is a great area, but you have to be open-minded. You have to be able to live here with the idea that maybe everybody's standard of life isn't the same as your standard of life. And you have to be open to the direction of an international community living together, different lifestyles and different expectations while living in a popular tourist destination. All right, so please check back tomorrow for the reasons why you should definitely live in Pattaya, Thailand. If you haven't done so already, make sure you give me that big thumbs up. You're hitting that subscribe button, and we're going to see you down the road. All right.